I think one of the things that I'm trying to understand in this idea that AI is an agent, I like that better than saying it's a species. I think the thing that bothers me about the species analogy has to do with the nature of consciousness, right? And what's really challenging is that there still is not a consensus about what consciousness is.
Yeah.
Like, what does it mean for us to be able to not just be aware, but aware that we're aware? You know, there's some way in which the lights are on and we know what it's like to be. I know what it's like to be Jeremy. There's a self inside of myself that is watching myself, and it's causing me to have this sort of dual awareness, not just to be a machine that's aware and doing things, but to be aware that I'm alive. I think that as we've been really trying to understand the nature of consciousness for the last few decades, it's been an increasingly popular topic. We don't really understand what it is. And there's really basically two schools of thought about the nature of consciousness. One is that all the world, kind of the materialist atheist view of consciousness is that it must be some kind of emergent quality of the material world. And therefore, with a certain number of nodes, or if you turn a node onto itself, or you make some node aware of the other nodes, there's a level of complexity in which the lights just sort of magically come on. And that's what happened at some point in human evolution. That's kind of the materialist atheist explanation for consciousness. We don't know exactly what it is, but it must be, it can't not be an emergent quality of matter, since matter is all there is. And therefore, eventually we're going to connect AI, in such a way that the lights are going to come on and they're going to be identical to us, except for maybe much more powerful. And so there are a lot of these materialist atheists who are basically saying that, of course, consciousness will come upon the AI. And when it does, they're going to be so much more, whatever we value in ourselves, they're going to be that a million fold. And therefore, they're going to be far more valuable as a species. And so that's kind of the species argument. Elon Musk had a famous conversation with one of the founders of Google, I think it was Larry Page, and they were arguing about AI alignment, AI safety, and Larry Page accused Elon of being speciesist. He said the fact that you prefer humanity over the AI that's coming is itself, like, for him, he was like, I don't respect that position. That actually ended their friendship because Elon was like, I'm
Wow.
on team human. But I think a lot of this does come down to what you think consciousness is, because again, if you're a materialist atheist, it's very difficult to avoid the argument that what we're giving birth to is just another matter-based species. If that's all we are, that's all this is. If we value ourselves, why don't we value it? The other way that consciousness is conceived is that consciousness is something that is truly mysterious and of some kind of spiritual nature, that there's no way to reduce consciousness to matter. And so the fact that when you look at a red apple, you see it as a red apple, you can't pull somebody's brain open and find the red apple in there anywhere. Like, there's some kind of barrier between my perception of reality and it's going in somewhere. It's being aided by my eyes and by my brain. But when it comes into my conscious awareness, it's somewhere else. It's somewhere in a non-material state. And there are, like, researchers who are atheists who basically think this is a absolutely proven phenomenon and that it can't be material. It's one of the greatest, evidences for the existence of the soul, or the existence, and it's caused some of these atheists to, begin to think about things like panpsychism, which is basically the idea that everything is conscious and that consciousness is actually at the foundation of all reality, and that it couldn't have just simply emerged because of a certain level of evolutionary complexity. And therefore, if it was and does exist in everything and through everything, it's the only way that can explain the conscious awareness, that we're just complex enough to notice consciousness, but consciousness sort of exists already in all the universe in some kind of sense. It's a very strange theory, but if you go all the way down to the base of their logic, it actually makes sense. It's very difficult to avoid actually that conclusion. And for those of us who are Christians and, theists, I think for us, it's like, it seems really important for us to define this. And I think there's going to be some kind of major split between theists and atheists over AI, because we believe, at the foundation of our belief, is that human value comes because of our bearing the image of God, and that the AI does not have that it does not bear that image. Maybe, as Mustafa says, it bears sort of some kind of relationship to humanity. Maybe it's a species born of humanity, but it's removed from the image bearing that we receive because of what in the beginning of creation we're told when God created male and female, he created us in his image. So these are the kinds of questions I kind of want to throw it all out there. Is like,
Yeah.
I can't imagine a more important conversation. I don't think we're having it. Part of it is just it's so complex and also so weighty and so confusing and so impossible to get to the bottom of that it's like it's getting really confusing for me to even understand how to relate to AI. Am I getting excited about this? Am I getting scared about this?